There are so many things that lovers of instrument search do not come across under the coils of metal detectors. From metal debris to valuable coins, jewelry, and ancient artifacts. Unfortunately, not all finds have been preserved. And this is not surprising. After all, they have been lying in the ground for hundreds of years. But if the long-awaited find turns out to be safe and sound, then there is no limit to the treasure hunter's joy. In this video, you will find every mysterious archaeological find that can surprise you. Hi friend, you are on the KirTop channel. Mummy with two heads. This photo interested me as soon as I saw it. The two-headed mummy of a giant. Is it a joke? Have you seen a lot of giant mummies? And the two-headed ones? Me too. This mummy, called KirTop, is kept in a private collection in Baltimore. The height of the mummy is 3.14 meters, although in some sources I found 3.6 meters. There are two legends. According to one of them, in 1673, a giant man was caught in South America in Patagonia by Spanish sailors and tied to the mast of a ship. KirTop was able to free himself, and the sailors had to use weapons. As a result of his wounds, he died. Delivered the body to Europe, he was preserved in a barrel of cognac. Upon arrival, the body was embalmed. Then the mummy was bought by a businessman. At that time, it was fashionable to arrange a show of non-standard people, in one of which the mummy was shown in different countries. According to the second legend, the body of giant KirTop was found by the Paraguayans on the shore with a spear in his chest. They mummified the body and began to worship him as a deity. After a while, the mummy was stolen by the English navigator George Bickle and taken to Britain. Then history repeats itself. The mummy begins to move from one owner to another and is shown in different shows. The last demonstration was in 1959. The current owner is Lionel Gerber. In the 19th century, in the context of people's enthusiasm for the freak show, there was such a direction as cryptotaxidermy, when such freaks were created artificially. The fact is that during the existence of the KirTop mummy, not a single evidence of his research remained. There were only disordered rumors from the yellow press. Wandering tablet. Every treasure hunter dreams of finding a gold object, but in this case, the value of the metal is not as important here as what is written on it. A plate of gold 10.8 by 5 centimeters and 0.8 millimeters thick, dated to the period of Ptolemy III, was discovered by underwater archaeologist Franco Gaudio during excavations of the sunken ship of Heraclean in 2003. The plate is engraved with Greek text in a dotted style, which took a long time to decipher. Experts found out that this plate was dedicated to Ptolemy III, Evagret, and his family. It had a memorial value and was buried near the walls of an important building and signed by those who led the construction. After thorough cleaning and restoration, Professor Manfred Klaus was able to read the entire text of the dedication. Ruler Ptolemy and Arsinoe, brother gods, hands over this gymnasium to Hercules for his own and Queen Berenice, his sister and wife, and their children. Hercules was worshipped as the patron saint of athletics, and since the Hellenistic period, almost every gymnasium had an altar or statue dedicated to the god. Warrior in armor in Japanese Pompeii. Few people know about excavations carried out in Japan at the site of three cities that existed until the middle of the 6th century, until two consecutive strongest volcanic eruptions on Mount Haruna buried them under a layer of pumice stone more than 2 meters thick. But recently, they also gave a sensational result, although much less well known. Experts conducting excavations have discovered a warrior in armor who apparently died during the eruption, covered by a pyroclastic flow. The found warrior was wearing armor known as Kiko, Henin armor. It was a Japanese version of the classic East Asian lamellar armor made of interconnected plates attached to the shoulders. It should be noted that the armor of the warrior was not complete, but the second part of the armor was found nearby about 3 meters away. It is curious that, judging by the position, the warrior was on his knees facing the volcano and did not try to escape. Experts speculated that it was a certain dignitary who may have prayed, facing the erupting volcano, to calm his anger. It should be noted that this is the first finding of Kiko in humans. Prior to that, all found armor of this type were found in tombs. Ear pick, a mysterious artifact. The first ear picks found by archaeologists date back to several centuries BC, starting from the early Iron Age. Once they were made of wood or bone, then they began to be made of metal and even glass. Most often, treasure hunters come across copper coins, but they are lucky ones who manage to find specimens made of silver and even gold. Despite the fact that the study of ear picks as a historical source began in the middle of the 19th century, experts nevertheless agree that ear picks are an item of personal hygiene of our ancestors, namely a device for removing sulfur plaques from the ears. In Russia, ear picks were widespread in the 18th-19th centuries, mainly in the Urals and Siberia. The product is a small stick, 3 to 15 centimeters long with a small spoon at the end. The variety of ear picks is amazing, starting from shapes and sizes, ending with an abundance of all kinds of patterns and plots. These are often true works of art, and each has its own degree of rarity, for which it is loved by many collectors. In general, ear pick is an artifact with a long and rich history, still poorly understood but allowing us to better learn about the past life of our ancestors. Chocolate that is 120 years old. Australian National Library staff have found a stash from the last century among the papers of local poet and journalist Andrew Benjol Patterson. Recently, his author's manuscripts were handed over to the library, and when the employees were dismantling them, they smelled an unusual smell. It turns out that a tin box with chocolate was hidden between them. The chocolate was wrapped in foil and straw. Such boxes of chocolate were sent by the British Queen to soldiers in South Africa during the Boer War of 1899-1902. Experts believe that the journalist received chocolate as a gift from one of the soldiers when he worked as a war correspondent in this country. However, in his manuscripts, Patterson did not write anything about this souvenir. Apparently, he wanted to keep it secret. What was found under the barracks of ancient Rome? In 128, the Romans in Great Britain completed a grandiose construction. A rampart of stone and peat was built, which went down in history as Hadrian's Wall, having received the name of the emperor during whose reign it was built. Archaeological excavations on the territory of the structure have been going on for several decades and have given scientists a large number of artifacts. Particularly interesting were the excavations carried out at the site of the barracks of the Roman troops, which were built even before the construction of Hadrian's Wall began. The richest find gave experts reason to believe that the buildings left between 117 and 118 years old were abandoned in a hurry, and this haste had a historical explanation. After the death of Emperor Trajan in 117, the islanders, deciding to take advantage of the opportunity, rebelled. The Roman detachments located in the barracks did not have serious defensive structures and could not withstand the siege, and therefore were forced to leave them. But it was not the urgent evacuation of the garrison that helped the scientists, but the fact that a few years later, the Romans, restoring the barracks during the construction of the wall, poured concrete on their floors, reliably preserving everything abandoned. The most valuable finds are 2 cavalry swords, one of which was found in a scabbard. The weapon was simply lying on the floor in the barracks, and if one of the swords was damaged, its blade was bent. Then the second had no visible damage. These swords are defined as cavalry. They are long, about 60 centimeters, light, and very sharp. Home of a Viking woman in America. In Iceland, archaeologists have unearthed the remains of an ancient farm that they believe belonged to the mythical Viking woman, Gudrid Torbjornsdottir. She is believed to be the first European woman to cross the Atlantic Ocean. We are talking about a woman whose name is mentioned in the ancient sagas. According to Icelandic genealogy, Gudrid Torbjornsdottir was one of the greatest navigators of the Middle Ages. She has been compared to far more famous male Vikings such as Eric the Red and Leif Erikson. Moreover, the sagas say that Gudrid managed to cross the Atlantic 500 years before Christopher Columbus, and later she made a pilgrimage to the Vatican. However, even in Iceland it was partially forgotten. Gudrid came from a very simple family. Her grandfather was generally a slave who received freedom. Despite this, she managed to make several impressive journeys to the New World and became a great merchant, earning everyone's respect. Mysterious golden mask. In the Chinese province of Sichuan, not far from the city of Chengdu, archaeologists stumbled upon 500 cultural relics, which are 3,000 and 2,000 years old. Among the finds are masks made of gold and bronze, more than 100 ivory tusks, fabrics, jade, and bronze dishes. According to scientists, the artifacts found in the pits were used for sacrifices. This is evidenced by the fact that before burial, many of the items found were damaged and burned. I will add that the find was made at the site of the excavation of the ancient ruins of Sangjue. The artifact pits are located on an area of about 12 square kilometers. In 1929, local farmers accidentally discovered jade products buried here. In 1986, archaeologists found more than 1,000 artifacts at this site, including elaborately decorated bronze dishes, masks, and sculptures of bronze trees. In order not to miss a new video on the channel, be sure to subscribe, press the bell, and thumb up. Thanks for your views. Bye everyone!